Hello, welcome to Artist Interview. I am your host, Jameson Baxter. Each episode, I interview an artist to highlight their work and creative process in order to inspire others to create. Today, we will hear from Tia Richardson, a community muralist located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Tia's projects foster community by creating space for people of all backgrounds and perspectives to take part in the design and creation of her art. Thank you, Tia, for joining me for this time, and welcome to this program. I'm so delighted that you can spend your time with us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, Tia, can you just begin by sharing who you are, where you're located, and how you identify as an artist?
So I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm a community artist, specifically with murals. I like to say that because a lot of people might not know what kind of art necessarily that I do. There's all different types of artists, but I bring people together through murals, or at least I try to.
Awesome. I think you do bring people together.
Yeah.
Even though you say try.
It's a work in progress. No, I love it. It's one thing that I feel we need in the world is to come together through our differences, not despite them or like trying to make those go away, but really finding a way to work together. So for me, murals has been a way that I found surprisingly can do that.
That's really neat. Tia, how did you find yourself interested in murals and then into community-based murals?
Yeah, so I was looking for work when I got laid off in 2007. And I approached some nonprofits in my city who partner artists with schools. And I started by doing residencies and working with children in classrooms. And from the beginning, it was always murals. It was never being an art teacher traditionally, like I'm teaching people how to draw or individual instructions. It's what can we do together that's easy and fun that I know how to do. Because I don't have background as a teacher or training as a teacher. So what can I do to work with a whole class of students? And it was murals. So I fell in love with it. From there, it just became fun, and all the challenges that working in a classroom presented made me realize that I guess it made me realize that I like that I like the challenge that different people present, different personalities, different situations, and that's part of the creativity for me. With every project, it's not just about the art; it's also about how we're relating to each other as people, and how can I help the situation as a person. So community art has become something more for me that's about bringing people together and unity.
That's neat. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
Tia, if you think about it, how long would you say you have been creating or have been doing art?
Since I was 4, so that's over. That's more than 3 decades. That's like awesome. that's almost 4 decades.
Do you have specific memories that you can recall of as a 4-year-old creating?
I have memories that people told me. Like I have a family friend, or there's a story my mom tells me where one of our family friends saw me drawing on their floor in their kitchen. I think it was being remodeled, and they let me draw on the broken floor, like on the tile, or maybe it was gonna be remodeled. I don't remember, but there was something about letting me draw this picture in the kitchen on their floor with crayon or whatever, because they thought it was a good picture.
Oh, that's so cool. And as a 4-year-old, I'm sure that was very, very exciting. That's neat.
The freedom was exciting. I don't remember the permission or anything, but I used to make books when I was growing up in middle school, elementary school. I used to write and illustrate books and bind them together in cardboard and construction paper, and I loved doing that throughout my whole childhood. So creating stories has always been something that um, I feel as an artist is very much a part of who I am. And so now I get to do that on a larger scale with murals, and more recently through film as well, documenting the projects.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was just going to say that with, you're telling stories with these murals you create. That's beautiful. That's
Thank
awesome.
you. Yeah.
So, Tia, can you walk us through your creative process? So, I know it might look a little bit different depending on what specific project you're working on, but how about for one where it's community based and, from the very start of kind of getting the ask to do the mural on through to the end? What does that look like for you?
Okay. So you approach me to do a mural, and I say, okay, why do you want to do a mural? Um, how do you think this will help your community? Or what are some of the needs you think it'll address? Um, and we talk about that, and you probably have 2 or 3 other people in your team that also want to do this. Usually it's not just me or one other person, it's usually 3 or more people that want to do a mural, and we talk about those things, and I get to understand where you're coming from, and I get to understand the community that you're a part of, who you want me to work with, and how big it's gonna be. I come visit the wall. You got to have a wall in mind. So if I'm gonna do this and we're gonna talk about it, you got to have a place already picked out, and I need to go look at it, get an idea of how big it is, and what I can do with it. And then from there, we talk about who we want to be involved. Who's the community? Is it a school? Do we want older people? Do we want younger people? Do we want to mix it? Do we want a mixed group? Ideally, with a community project, we want to think about a broad representation of voices. So if we're going to involve kids, we can have them included in the design, but we're going to have a separate workshop that's just for kids, so that they can have all my attention without the adults sharing that attention. And then we'll do a separate workshop for design for the adults, and we'll think about who are the voices that we want to have in the room. Ideally, it's a cross section of the community, so it's everybody who's in the community. If we can get at least 1 or 2 people there to share whatever's on their heart, whatever they care about, that from my experience has worked. And it doesn't take a lot of people. So on an average, we have about 50 people that participate in like a community design workshop. And we break that up into three workshops, 2 or 3 workshops. So you get like 50 people from a community who are speaking to different challenges that they have, ways that they want to help improve those, and where we're going as a result of those improvements and those choices. And after that's done, and by the way, they're not just talking, they're drawing in the workshop. They're taking markers and they're drawing little pictures. And some of the video I'll show will share that. But that does a remarkable job for me as an artist of getting more of an insight into their stories and their hearts and their minds than if we were just having a town hall meeting, for example. So
Mhm.
by actually drawing or working together with paper and pens, they're also collaborating, and um, it's all energizing because we're working together. And so the design is going to have some of the things that they drew on their pages. It's going to represent it. So like, you and you potentially someone in your community might be together in a group deciding what you want on paper, and then you'll see that play out in the mural design symbolically or sometimes literally. So this bigger design will show a lot of what those broad voices um, want to express about their community, and there's a point where everybody can help paint it. Once it's up on the wall, there's a paint by numbers. So it's bringing out the paintbrushes, it's bringing the kids, bringing the family, everybody to come help paint and get the basic color down. And then I paint on top of that to make it look finished. So that's the journey. And from the beginning, I always say to you and your community that I'm in service to you. I'm here for you and for your community, and I want you to hold me to that. So that's where it starts. And along the way, if there's changes or challenges or revisions or bumps, we work through those together. But I'm always in service to you as the community.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's
Just to
fun.
be able, I mean, that to me, that's it is inspiring because it's really a vulnerability on your part to be willing to say, I'm in service to you, and kind of like, yeah, I mean, I think there's a pressure sometimes as an artist to create, and then I don't know, this is like a different type of pressure, but yeah, it's very, very vulnerable on your part. So I commend you for that.
Yeah, it's fun. It's hard. It's having to learn what my role is because I have a sense of that I want to help build bridges with my art. Well, in a way, it's how do I do that? And it's well, um, kind of through trial and error has it's kind of just led me to this.
Sure.
Or to that attitude, and because that's the only thing that works. It's kind of like doing what works, and I've tried a lot of different things, and that's one thing that I have found has worked every single time.
That's awesome. And Tia, how long, what you just described, how long does a project like that take from the moment you get that ask to create a mural on through all those design sessions with people and painting and then the reveal at the end?
Yeah, some of that depends on how much money needs to be raised and the scope of the project. So, for example, in Rockford, Illinois, I just finished a mural that took 2 years from the time we had the idea and the time I was approached to actually getting the money raised. And we did a Kickstarter and raised $30,000 in 45 days. And the mural took 3 months from the workshops to being finished. Then it took another partly because of COVID, took another 6 months or so to actually go up on the wall. Um, in general, it's 4 to 6 weeks from start to finish if the money's already there and we're ready to go and all the planning is done. The design usually only takes 2 weeks. The painting is 4 to 6 weeks. So yeah, I would say what is that, 2 to 3 months on average for a bigger project, and smaller ones on average, like in a school, could easily be done in 4 to 6 weeks.
That's really neat.
Hmm.
And I love that you can allow people to be part of both the design and the actual painting. Because I mean, I'm in awe of muralists in general. And I've seen, where it's someone painting solo, or they might be a two-person crew that's painting a mural. And, I've seen or I've heard from people where just doing that naturally folks want to come and like engage with it and talk with them while they're painting. And so the fact that you can open it up even more, I just, it's amazing. It's what we need. So
Yeah, thank you.
that's
For
all.
for a better society, for me, it's what a better society. It's it's what I want to. It's what I want a better. It's what I want to add to our society to make it better.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Hmm.
That's awesome. And so Tia, um, I know you probably have dealt with this working with um, people in your community or in different communities that don't necessarily identify as an artist. Uh, and so you might hear, oh, I can't paint because I'm not an artist.
Hmm.
And how do you navigate that? What do you tell those people when they think, no, I can't do that. I've never painted before.
Hmm. Usually, like for one example, in Rockford, there was a lady who I met early on, and she led a youth choir who I wanted to get involved right from the beginning, and she insisted that all she could draw was lines and circles, and I said, that's exactly what we need. We need your lines and circles so that I can take your line and circle and turn it into art, because your line and circle can tell me way more than you would imagine. So um, it's that we have more to give. We what we have is enough. That's what I tell people. And usually when they say that, we're already out there painting, and I'm trying to pull people off the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And all it takes is putting a brush in their hand, or them seeing a 5-year-old doing it, and seeing that in front of them, there's an empty shape, and all they have to do is stay inside the lines or not, because I tell them it's going to get covered up anyway. I'm going to paint over it. So hopefully what I try to show them is that they have the freedom to make mistakes.
Mm.
And if they're an adult and they're trying their best, 9 times out of 10 they can't do as they can't do as bad as a 5-year-old who's not trying.
Right.
And the beautiful thing is, everybody from young people to adults, you see them in the videos, you can see them concentrating, and there's that beauty in them trying their darndest. They're trying so hard just to stand in the lines, but they're so serious about it, and it's just painting, but they're relaxed and they're having fun. And for me, it's really moving. Like that's what moves me. When I see people come to the wall and just um want to do their best. And for me, that's all it takes to make it a great piece of work.
Mm. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Have all the walls you've painted, have they all been done in a community oriented way? Have those all been outside?
There's one mural that was not community, that's outside. So I think, oh, there's two that I can think of. All the murals that I have done since '07 were community, except two, and the majority of them are inside schools.
Oh, neat. Okay.
Yeah, they were in schools and nonprofits, and there's like I want to say somewhere between 10 and 12 that are outdoor. Out of the 50, there's been like 50 or so that I've done since '07.
Well, that was going to be a question I had for you. How many murals you have created? So,
Yeah, and I wouldn't I don't so like the very first one, for example, it's got paint drips on it, and it was with kindergartners and fourth graders, and you can see it's beautiful because you can see where I was then and where I am now. And back then, a lot of the projects were supposed to look like the kids did it, and they aren't. They Some of them I'm more proud of than others as the artist who was leading it. And making sure the kids, got to be a part of it. But there's definitely some that I'm more proud of than others. But as a whole, like all of them build up to like where I am now. So yeah.
Tia, how long is a typical lifespan of a mural? So this is just a question of my own curiosity. You know, does the paint fade over time, and kind of how long does it last?
Yeah. So I use there's different kinds of paints you can use, and you're supposed to use some that are more what they call light fast, so the sun rays don't fade them. Because really, the first thing, and that's why I have to look at your wall. If you want me to do a mural, I got to see the wall because I have to see what condition it's in. Because the paint's only going to stick to, it's only going to last as long as the wall. And the first thing that'll destroy it is going to be sunlight and weather. Um, and the paint that I use they're designed to withstand the sunlight. And I also use varnish that's got UV protectors in it. So you're looking at, on average, if I can, if the wall is clean, I have to pressure wash it before it, prime it, prepare it. The wall is clean, the paint goes on, and then the varnish goes on. You shouldn't start to see any fading before 10 or 20 years.
Wow.
Like that would be the first thing that might be like even barely visible, would be just signs of starting to fade after like 10 or 20 years. So like then the peeling and things like that, it shouldn't peel. Maybe 30 to 50 years. It might start to weather, you know. I put 3 coats of varnish on my murals, which isn't common. And I've only had outdoor ones. Right now, I'm watching the one I did in 2016 was the first outdoor mural on brick that I did. So I'm sorry, no, 2008 was the first outdoor mural. It was on panels. And it started to fade slightly, but that was before I knew to put paint on thick. So the one I did in 2016, I used a different technique, and the paint's on thicker and all that. So I'm watching it to see. So I'm still young, and even though I've been doing this a long time, I'm just getting started to a degree. So we'll see how long those murals last, but
That's exciting.
Those will be my expectations.
Yeah, neat. Thanks for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is there anything else you want to share with us?
Any
wisdom?
Wisdom.
I mean,
Well,
it could be anything.
Yeah, well, we're all part of one community. That's what my work is about, and how we get there is done through a lot of different ways. And so when you look at my art, you're looking at different people's perspectives on how to make their communities better. And so if you go to my website, I think the pictures say more than 1,000 words. And everybody can see what they want to see in the art, in the murals. So there's not one story, or that, there's one message. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you for everything you shared. I find your process as an artist and just what you're able to do for communities so impactful. And so thank you for everything that you do and all that you shared with us.
Thank you, Jameson. I had a lot of ups and downs in this project. There were a lot of hurdles. How can we come together when we have different opinions? I wasn't sure that I could carry it through. Murals are a way for me to tell a large story across a scene that everybody can relate to. The challenge here for me was that I wasn't sure how I was going to blend everyone's ideas into this story, or into in a way that we all could appreciate.
It explains everything about what's going on in Milwaukee.
It says
Some guy holding up on his family, holding his family up, auntie, mother, brother, church, preaching. You see everything. But the main thing that caught my eye is the man holding up the household.
Never seen nothing like this. And I've been in Milwaukee for 25 years. You work for Brown? I want Brown. Good choice. And the community, Sherman Park, the park and the kids in the park particularly were greatly affected by the uprising. And so I felt it was really important that we be a part of this and that our kids are also a part of it.
What I recognize as an official is that I'm not the only piece of the city's outreach to its community. We can't provide the level of services they need beyond law enforcement.
I feel you on that.
Like one little drop of color can do a big impact on a little neighborhood.
Without community engagement, it falls flat. So to have that community engagement really pulls the project together and gives it that life and vitality that we want to bring.